sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward. So what do you need to do? How do you stand out? So what you need to do is be that person that's different and is bigger than you think. Rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are. Welcome, welcome, and hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Andrew David. This is the Blake Newbar's High Performance Call within the partner program. You guys are all damn rock stars, and I want to say thank you for being here. You give me a reason to get up and study a little bit more every single day. You know, I was having a conversation with, I've talked about this before, but have a therapist and working through making sure that I continue to be where I need to be. And we're talking about the challenge, and we're talking about me having to prep. It keeps me on my toes. You guys help make sure that every single day that I get up, that I'm spending some time on myself so that I can bring some value to you guys. So hopefully you get something out of it. That's the goal here, is so that each and every day you get an opportunity to grow yourself, to look at where you are, to work on your mindset, work on your skill set, work on what you need to either physically, mentally, emotionally, all sorts of different things. So yeah, momentum is what we're talking about right now. If you haven't yet, please watch the training that we did from Friday, talking about some initial elements of momentum. I'm giving you guys pieces of a training that I'm putting together. Once the whole thing is finalized, I'm going to film it. It'll probably be about a 15 to 30 minutes. So I'm giving you guys a little bit more, but we're talking about momentum. So here we go, guys. Let me pull this up as a review from the other day. Looking at momentum, here's what we have. Okay. So we go through this phase where it just doesn't seem like anything is working. We're struggling, right? We get into that little bit of a lag. We feel that there. We start to get some results. We start pushing. Everything seems to be working. We get unstoppable. We're riding the momentum, and then we get that burnout, slow down, ramp down. So this is kind of that cycle that we go through. But what I want to talk about today, guys, so this is where you feel very little is going right. There's a variable delay between the lead indicators and the lag. That's this here. This should be up here. Let's pull that there. Okay. So positive results come through, which accelerates everything, right? All this kind of stuff. Okay. Give me a second here. What's happening? My slides are moving funky on me. Sorry. So far today, I don't understand the circular graphic. Okay. So the circular graphic is, I'm going to show that here one more time here, Harley, and discuss it, and we'll get into it. Okay. Give me 1 second here, guys. Okay. So the momentum cycle, here's where this comes in. It is cyclical. It flows up and down according to our circumstances, your effort, the lead indicators, the market, et cetera. So there's all sorts of different things. So the goal is to work on that cycle. So understanding where it is. Now, here's a written definition, Hartley, of the overall cycle. So there's a delay between the lead indicators and the lag indicators. So where are we here is going to depend. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. Okay. As results start to come through, it accelerates the cycle. So you start to change your mindset from nothing is working to things are starting to work. I'm putting in effort and I'm starting to see some results. Things are starting to pay off. Then there's a flood where everything seems to be working. So these first few here, nothing's working, starting to get a little bit working, starting to get some results, and then everything starts to work. So that momentum really starts to grow and increase, right? We hit that breaking point between nothing working, starting to work, and everything working, right? I just feel that momentum. I'm in the zone. Things are clicking. It's happening. With business, I'm posting, I'm getting engagement. With the physicality, it's kind of where Ryan was talking about. He woke up, but he still got it done. And then through that, gained excitement, continued through the rest of your day, right? You're just making things happen. Okay. Then you start to ride that for a little while. This 1 to 2 weeks is different. It could be hours, honestly. It could be weeks or months. This is where learning about the cycles becomes important, because you can extend the length of that time that you are in the momentum, in that flow, in that zone, the more that you understand it. Okay. Hartley, does that explain a little bit more about that cycle? Still don't get it. What
No.
about it don't you understand? Explain.
No, and sorry if I'm nitpicking here, but a cycle usually for me means it goes round and round. So
True.
at the end of your arrow, are you suggesting we come back to the bad stages again?
What I'm suggesting is that you can, and this is where maybe just changing a little bit's a word, and yeah, we come into semantics. It's not necessarily this bad stage, but we have a tendency to naturally flow out of momentum, right? It happens. Momentum, I was talking about last week, can be either an asset, it can also be a liability. We have to learn to control it, but yeah, it is cyclical. So you'll be in momentum and things will start to happen, or you don't control it right, or whatever the cause may be, but things will modify and you have to then get back into momentum in order to level up to the next phase. So yeah, there is cycle portions of that where you'll come out of the momentum and need to be able to reestablish yourself.
I'll take your word for it. I just don't see the cycle. I see more of a spiral. Like there's you finish that off and maybe you have a different problem, and so it turns into a spiral.
I think it's just, we're arguing semantics. You can call it a spiral, you can call it a cycle, you can call it whatever. There's going to be ups and downs. You could do the graph. Like I could pull up any geometric shape and we can make it work. And for the sake of this argument, I'm talking about a cycle. There's going to be moments when you are at the peak of that cycle and you're experiencing momentum and you're in flow, and you're going to have moments where you fall out of that and you need to reconnect to it, right? So we'll call it that. So hopefully, and yeah, you want to talk about a spiral, whatever, hopefully you're spiraling up. But if you don't understand how this works, you can absolutely spiral down and allow it to overwhelm you, right? So you can, or you spend too much time in that downward portion of the cycle. And so you're never able to get up all the way into where I'm experiencing the momentum and it's propelling me forward. Again, we're semantics, verbiage, whatever you want to call it, it's looking at all of that and kind of figuring out, okay, I have those moments where I experience momentum, where I'm pushing, where things are going well. And then we have moments where we fall out of momentum. Okay. So what I want to do is kind of look at, different ways of explaining this. Everybody's going to be a little bit different in this regards, Hartley. That's why I was talking about, there's a variable here between, hey, I'm moving into this upward pathway in momentum. I'm starting to see some of these lead indicators, or I'm looking at whatever that is. Like everybody's going to be different in this regard, guys. And you've got to this level of self-awareness and looking at what you've done in the past to when you have felt momentum, when that's working for you, right? When the positive results start to come through, when you start to feel the efforts are paying off, what do you do to maintain the momentum as opposed to letting it slip? Because right now with this challenge, for example, when we're looking at a daily accumulation of results, every single day I'm getting stuff done, right? But if I look at it and I go, man, this isn't like me. I don't normally follow through like this. This is great. But if we focus on the fact that I don't normally do this, this isn't something I would see through all the way to the end before, I've done pretty well. It's okay if things don't go 100%. And we start to allow ourselves to disengage because we're not comfortable inside that flow, inside the momentum, right? So this is where we're talking about it. It's absolutely feelings based. It's not reflective of reality, because the truth is things are never 100% bad. Things are never 100% good. There's never a time where every single thing works, but we're creating momentum. And so we are able to kind of ignore some of those other things and drag ourselves forward. Does that statement make sense for some of you? For everybody, hopefully? There are times in your life where you're able to just drag yourself forward, even if some things aren't working, and that's okay, because I create momentum, right? So you want to get into the aerodynamics, you're pushing forward, right? You're creating that momentum. There is still going to be drag. And yet, if you move the right way, it's easier to create momentum from something that's already moving, right? Versus standing still and never taking action. Good days and bad days. Yeah, stuff happens. But the thing is I can take those bad days and still continue forward and not allow it to completely derail me. So some laws of momentum we talked about. You have to build it. You have to consciously maintain it. Once you slow down and you get out of it, it can take, I have here, you have to work twice as hard. Look, it could be twice as hard. It could be 1.5 times, like whatever. Figure out the numbers here, guys. But you're going to have to work harder to get back into it. Okay. But it's not an abstract thing. Okay. There is science involved with all of this. So, all right, here's a couple of things here and why it's important. Okay. As many as 80% of New Year's resolutions have failed by the second week of February. Right? That's way quick. That's why we're talking about a daily accumulation goal. For those of you that get through it here, you should continue into November and continue into December. And then when New Year's comes and you decide to create a new goal, then you can look and go, look, I got shit done for 90 days in a row. I can maintain momentum here. I can get stuff done going into this new year, right? So according to Bloomberg, 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs who start businesses fail within the first 18 months because they quit, because of stuff like this, because they don't figure out this law of momentum, because there's a number of different reasons. But guys, so much of it just boils down to doing something consistently each and every day. 2 out of 5 people will give up on a diet within a week. Just 20% last 3 months. Guys, how crazy is that? 3 months. Things are so out of whack in this world and like when you look at diets, junk food and eating poorly is so common that eating healthy is considered different. That's a diet. That should be the norm. It's not. When we talk about doing something consistently every single day, that's considered out of the norm. That's considered something that is unique and strange. And why would you do that every day? That's crazy. That's why people don't hit, the goals that they set for themselves, because they train themselves to be okay with mediocrity, right? Momentum. Why do I need momentum? Why can't you be happy where you're at? How often do you hear things like that? So let's see. When you have momentum, understanding what's been working to get you there is important, which helps you maintain it. Right. So that's why I talk about creating an accomplishments list. That's why we talk about self-awareness, looking at what you're doing. Without that, you're going to struggle. Okay. So my family, I am the strange one because I eat healthy, don't drink, don't smoke. Yeah, I don't drink. You know what's crazy? How many times people ask me why? Well, were you addicted to drinking? Was it a problem? Is that an issue? They don't do that with other stuff. Oh, you don't like mayonnaise? Were you addicted to mayonnaise? Right? People don't do that. Oh, you're walking every single day. Why would you do that? Why are you walking every day? Did your doctor tell you need to walk every day? No, I'm walking every day because I want to live, want to be healthy, want to extend my life. I've said this before. My dad died when he was 48. Why do I take health seriously? Because I want to be around when my kids graduate, when they get married, when things happen. He missed all of that. He saw my sister graduate. He saw me graduate. He didn't see anything else. He didn't see my brother graduate. He didn't see any of us get married. Never met any of the grandkids. I don't want that to be me. So maybe I want to pay attention to the food that I ingest and to the way that I live my life. Right? So here's a few things, right? Gold's Gym created an acronym for the reasons why people fail. So here's some of the excuses. I can't find the time. I don't have a plan. I ignore the commitments. I go back to old habits and I get frustrated with the lack of early results. So here's a couple of things you guys can do to start to create some momentum. I'm going to give you a couple of things to begin with. Right? Number 1, practice something every day. One thing, a couple of things. Don't try and do everything. Okay. One thing every single day, sustained focus, that starts to create momentum. The ability to handle daily monotony is an underappreciated superpower. You guys remember me saying that dozens and dozens of times? Okay. So next, a 3% challenge, a 1% challenge, a 5% challenge, whatever it is, create a small challenge for yourself. So yesterday, if you wrote 500 words, write 600 words. If you produce one video today, produce 1.5 videos tomorrow. If you ran 100 miles this month, that's what that's supposed to be. Make yourself do 120 next month. Now, guys, that only works out to just over 3 miles a day, that 100 miles. That's not anything crazy. Curtis is doing 600,000 steps. I'm doing the number of push-ups. Ryan's doing these push-ups. All of you guys are doing different things, whether it's the video a day, it's reading, it's content, whatever. Create some kind of challenge for yourself. It's just a little bit each day that is the key. Just push yourself a little bit. Next, commit to the long term. Quote that I've given you guys from Tony Robbins was actually taken from Peter Drucker, from others. There's a reason, one of the biggest reasons that people fail is they overestimate the short term, but they grossly underestimate the long term. Right? That's why, like with this accumulation challenge, I have a different group that is doing it and some other people that had joined it. And I know they're never going to watch this call, and I'm not trying to poke fun at anybody, but one of the individuals that's in there isn't quite grasping the spirit of this. And I know some of you absolutely have, and you've taken it and you're running with it. So the purpose of this challenge is to help you create momentum. Really, that's what it is. Help you overcome, help you look at it, just like Ryan was saying, each and every day. Hey, I'm accomplishing something. Something's happening in my life that I have control over. The more that you do things that you have control over, the more you'll be able to put yourself in a state of flow, in a state where you recognize and are able to leverage momentum. And the more you give up on those little things, the more difficult it will be to get back into that state. So there's an individual in there that's talking about, that had set goals for themselves. And some of us are doing, 10, 12, 14,000 push-ups, so many steps. One person is meditating 3 times a day. Someone else is doing this. Someone else is doing, similar group, part of where I got this challenge. Well, one guy in there is just saying, well, I want to lose a little bit of weight. That was his big challenge. So, not this weekend, but last weekend, he had said, oh, I didn't follow through on what I was supposed to this weekend, but I got 2 great days of rest in. That was great. During the week, he talked about, I didn't quite do great today because I was sampling a bunch of new craft beers that were, one of them was sugar. I don't know, some weird, it was supposed to be a low carb, blah, blah, blah. He's not taking it seriously. Right? He's not giving himself anything to do. His big challenge to lose weight, he's just posting how much he weighs every day. Well, he posted today, he's 3 pounds heavier than last week. There's no momentum. There's no action. There's nothing that's happening that's pushing him forward. The biggest bit of accountability is just him. And it's almost like a joke. And whether it's your business, it's this challenge, it's something else, guys, if you treat it like a joke, that's going to be your result. How many times have you stepped into something like this and gone, hey, at the end of the 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, you just going, man, wish it would have worked out, but I gave it my best. But did you? Did you really? What do you need to do? Right? When I lived in Asia, I was drinking every day for 7 years. Now in Canada, I don't touch it at all. There you go. Hey, but changing your environment, that goes with so many things. If you're in an environment that is creating difficulty in order for you to build momentum, then you need to pay attention to that environment, to the people that are around you, to what's happening, right? If I'm committing to the long term, that's something I got to do. Yeah, Yvonne, absolutely. There's rationalization there, but this is where you decide. You're okay with where you live, with what you do, or you're not, right? And if you're not okay, then you make changes. If you're okay with it, then you make rationalizations, you make excuses. That's all there is. Okay, so here's a couple of things you can do along with these, right? So practice one thing, pick one or two things every day, your push-ups, your steps, your one video, your content, whatever, every single day, but commit to the long term with it. I'm not doing this for the next 7 days. I'm not doing this for the next 14. I'm doing this. This is going to become part of who I am. And I'm going to just commit to improving a little bit at a time. 3%, 1%, whatever the number is, guys, it doesn't matter. Just commit to the long term with it. Now, here's a couple of things you can do. Visualize yourself in 3 years. Nothing's changed. Imagine being in the exact same place 3 years from now with nothing changed. How's that feel? And if you're not happy with that, then what I want you to do is take yourself 1 year from today, or do the 3 years, whichever one. You've had the best year of your life. You've had the best 2-3 years of your life. What is that one thing that you had to do to get there? So sit down and create. I've talked about this. We've done the training before. So the BHAG, the big, hairy, audacious goal, right? The dumb goals. So you have dream driven, uplifting, method friendly. It's behavior changing, right? That's what dumb goals stands for. So create this, look at that perfect day down the road. What did you have to change in your life in order to achieve that? And then you break that down into next quarter, the next 90, the next 180 days. Now we set the targets that are vivid, specific, measurable. So this is balancing out the SMART goals with the dumb goals. That's how we do that there. Visualization, if you really want to create momentum, is going to be key to helping you push through these cycles that go up and down and around. Cycles, spirals, graphs, charts, whatever, bell curve, I don't care, whatever you want to call it, guys. In order to do that, you've got to walk through this, right? Sometimes growth is hard.
And what is dumb? Oh, I got the BHAG. What is DUMB?
So dumb goals, and you can go, I'll give you guys the training I did. I did it months and months ago about SMART goals versus dumb goals. Dumb stands for dream driven. So normally it's just way outside the box. It's something totally different. Okay. Next is it's uplifting. So it's not a goal to eliminate debt. It's a goal to, have financial freedom, right? It's not a goal to lose weight. It's a goal to have health that is, life transforming. It's something along those lines, right? It's uplifting. It's not deficit driven. Next is that it's method friendly. So it's something, even if I've got the big, hairy, audacious goal, even if it's some big, crazy goal that's dream driven, it's something that there's a method that will allow me to get there. I may not know how to fulfill every aspect of that method yet, but there is a method that exists. I may not know the method, not just how to implement it, but the reality is, guys, with just about any goal, if someone has achieved it, there's a method to get there. And one of the things I need to do is figure out what that method is. Okay. Next is the B. So it's behavior driven. So it's changing behaviors that I have is going to allow me to get there.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So it's sad when one gives up control of their life and destiny. Absolutely. Learn this from T. Harv Eker. When your mind is giving you trouble, just say thanks for sharing, move in a positive direction. That's great. Ultimate antidote to incongruent behavior is taking total personal responsibility. Ultimately, that's what it boils down to. How much control are you giving to others versus yourself? If I have total control in my hand and I recognize that, I can look at it instead of deficit driven, look at all the mistakes I've made, look at all the positive things that I've done, look at where I am, look at what I'm capable of doing. I just need to make that choice. So each and every day, I'm going to make that choice. And if you make those choices continuously, eventually you start to build that momentum because you start to increase your self-belief, and there's other things that you can do. I'm going to share this PowerPoint with you guys inside the Google Drive. There's some extra slides that go along with it that I haven't touched on, momentum killers and other things. I think I'm going to this week slide back to some of the ADHD and entrepreneurship, some dumb goals, and then those upper limits in preparation for Mr. Hendricks on October 29th, Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you guys are there. Appreciate you guys as always. Go out, do a little bit today to begin to
or maintain.
Sometimes people have what it takes, but they haven't recognized it yet. Just go forward.
So what do you need to do? How do you stand out?
Tomorrow
What
at
you
noon,
need to do is
guys
be that person that's different and it's bigger than you think.
rise from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are.